You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrivetime Business Coach Radio Show.
Yes, and yes. On today's edition of the Ask Clay Anything, Ask Me Anything edition of the Thrivetime Show, we have a thriver out there by the name of Derek, who emailed in a question that I wish more people would ask. And so, Andrew, without any further ado, what is the question?
All right, so he says, quick question. I hear on the podcast all the time, and everyone else talking about putting time in your business.
That is correct, sir. Continue.
All right, my question is, how do you know when you're actually putting in legitimate time into your business or you're just doing busy work?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to go through. There's five moves. I've got 4 of them on the show notes, okay? But let's go ahead and add the 5th one here real quick, okay?
Okay.
So here are the first 4 moves, then we'll get into the 5th move. And Andrew, I know it's tough to do public typing and keep up with the show notes, but we're going to do it.
Got it.
So here we go. The first way you know whether you're doing, meaningful work or just wasting your time is you have to know your why. Why are you doing this? And is doing this activity getting you closer to your goals? That's really as complicated as it is. So I'm going to give you an example today that I think is a good example. We had a thriver in the past week reach out to me with an opportunity to serve as sort of like a COO role of an existing company that's very big company.
Right.
And they said, we need somebody to help manage the day-to-day operations. It's a big company. It's north of $20 million. And they offered me a pretty intense amount of money to help them. And I'm not going to do it. And do you know why, Andrew? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to entertain it. The guy said, could you meet for lunch? I'd like to discuss it. I know the guy. He's bona fide. Could you meet for lunch? You know why I said, I respect it. Thank you. But I don't want to meet for lunch. Why?
Yeah, because your goals don't exactly align with his goals.
My goals are to mentor millions and to be the best husband and dad possible. That's all I got.
Yep.
That's all I got. Mentor millions, be the best husband and dad possible. So you ask yourself why. Is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to my goal? As an example, I see a lot of people going back to school. And they get out of school, but they are still a fool, economically speaking. So they're like, I need to go back to school because I need to get educated. I need to learn things. I need to get a degree. I got to complete my degree. Well, if the degree does not get you closer to your goals, then the degree is an epic waste of time. Now, if the degree does get you closer to your goals, and your goal should not be to get a degree.
Right.
Your goal should be able to make time and financial freedom. That's the goal. Your goal shouldn't be just to earn another degree. If you want to learn more about history, watch the History Channel. Go to a library. Just sit in on a class, audit a class. They'll let you do it. So you might not need a degree, or you might need a degree, but is it getting closer to your goals? Ask yourself, what is my why? The difference between busyness and business is a business has an I in it. A business exists to serve you. Again, the difference between a business and busyness is a business has the letter I in it, and a business exists to serve you, a.k.a. I. Now, busyness has a Y in it, and the difference is, in addition to the spelling, is the people who are just busy don't know their why. So you've got to find your why and make sure you're going in the right direction. Now, the next way you can know if you're doing the right work, meaningful work, or just wasting your time is you got to know your RPIs. And I hate acronyms, abbreviations, but it's just you need to know this, okay? People commonly refer to these things as RPIs, so you just need to know what they are. They're it's RPAs, sorry, revenue producing activities. Revenue producing activities. You have to know your RPAs, your revenue producing activities. There are certain activities that you can do that produce revenue. So let's give an example. If I owned an Amazon business and I was near the top of the Amazon listings, do you know what would be a high revenue producing activity for me? If I had a product that was near the top of my category or at the top, do you know what a revenue producing activity would be that would be a huge benefit for me?
I want to get some reviews.
Right, from buyers. Yeah. So I'd be obsessing over getting reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Now, another thing I would do if I had a product on Amazon and I was trying to grow it massively, I would create a Dream 1000 list of influencers. And I'd be reaching out to people like Britney Spears or Oprah or whoever you can think of,
Right.
and trying to get them to try my product, use my product, because that will change the game. So I would be constantly getting reviews, constantly reaching out to my Dream 1000, and I would be constantly running my ads. So those three things are happening all the time: running my ads, Dream 1000, getting reviews, and then I just want to make sure that my product gets a little bit better every single day. That's revenue producing activities. Now the next way, the next filter that you can run your life through to determine whether you're wasting time or headed in the right direction is KPIs. Now that stands for Key Performance Indicators. So you want to have a set quota. You say, you know what, my Amazon online company, I need to get at least 2 reviews a day. And you hold yourself accountable to those numbers. I need to get 20 a day, and you hold yourself accountable to those numbers. If you're making sales calls, I commit to making 100 calls a day. If you do sales stop buys, some people call them calls, but you're going to businesses and presenting. You want to hold yourself accountable to a set number. It's just unbelievable how well it works. Andrew, there's a fitness guy we've worked with, and I won't mention his particular business, but you've seen his agenda.
Right.
And the guy's growing. And what kind of things are on his agenda that he needs to be doing every single week?
On his agenda, there is get reviews.
How many reviews? Do you remember?
10, I believe, per week.
I think it's 5 or 10. But yeah,
5 or 10. Okay.
So he's on his list, get 5 reviews a week. What else?
Then podcast.
He's got to do a podcast every day. And what else?
Yep. So reviews, podcast.
There's one more, baby.
And then, here it comes.
Dream
here it
100.
comes. Oh, get a video review. Oh, Dream 100. Get Dream 100.
There you go. He's got to do. Now, again, Andrew's correct. We got to get 5 reviews a week, but 5 of them need to be video, 5 are Google, so a total of 10. That's correct. We also need to never, ever, 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 ever stop. What?
Say one more time.
We got to never stop getting the reviews.
Yep.
What else?
Never stop calling a Dream 100.
Yep.
Never stop getting reviews. And never stop podcasting.
Right. That's it. And he has a set number: 1 podcast a day.
Right.
5 video reviews a week, 5 Google reviews. This is what we do. And if you just never stop, it's amazing the level of success you can have. But when you start and stop a new strategy every week, that doesn't work. Also, when you start a new strategy every week, it's confusing. Also, you don't have time to get it all done. So you just got to hold yourself accountable to your daily key performance indicators. Andrew, how much of your check are you saving as a percentage?
25%.
That would be an example of a key performance indicator.
Yeah.
You know that 25% of what you earn, you are savings, or you're saving. Now, the next variable we want to think about is multiply. What are you doing today that's going to allow you to simplify and multiply? Every day you ask yourself, what can I do to simplify my workflow or my process, my systems, my checklist, so that I can multiply? Because complexity scales and simplicity, think about this, simplicity, I misphrased that. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. Simplicity, again, simple things, simplicity, that scales, but complexity fails. So you want to ask yourself on a daily basis, what are the things that I am doing that are allowing me to scale my company? How can I simplify the business? What do I need to do today to remove a step or simplify a process so that you can scale something? So you ask yourself again, how do I know if the stuff I'm working on right now is meaningful or if I'm just wasting time? You go through the why. Is it getting me closer to my goals, right? 2, the revenue producing activities. You say, are these activities producing money, right? Because without, I'll get to, that's my final point here. So revenue producing activities, you got to have your revenue producing activities. You got to have those defined. Now your key performance indicators, you got to know those because the key performance indicators hold you accountable to a set quota every day, a set quota, a set amount of output. You want to hold yourself accountable to this many calls a day, this many times you're going to show your ad, this many people you're going to interview a day. There's got to be a quota. You have to set a quota. Step 4, you want to think about, how can I multiply? How can I remove a step? Because I know that simplicity scales and complexity fails. And the final thing here, final question here is, if I would be dead in a year, would I be doing this? AKA schedule time for what matters. So you could be working all the time, selling your awesome watches, selling your awesome cookies, growing your awesome dentistry. But if you neglect your wife or your kids or the things that matter most to you, what was the point? I would say there probably isn't a point. And a lot of people get that twisted. They get that confused. They get that they get discombobulated. They begin to focus on things that don't matter, that don't have a value to them on this planet. For those of you who believe in eternal life, as I do, things that are not of eternal value. So if my son wants to work on DJing music at night, or I could do another sales call, I'm going to choose DJing at night because that matters to me more than making another buck. You can make another dollar, but you can't make another day. So I'll encourage you out there, just be thinking about these things. Think about these 5 things one more time. Let's go through them one more time. If you're saying, how do I know if what I'm doing today is just busy work or is it the right activity? Am I making progress? Again, know your why. Know your goals. Know your goals for your faith. Know your goals for your family, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, your family, your faith, your fitness, your friendship, your fun. Know those goals. Know the goals for your F6 life. Then once you know those goals, ask yourself, am I getting closer to doing this, or am I completing somebody else's to-do list? Like, AKA, my parents want me to have a degree. Really? Is that helping you? Oh, my parents want me to have a degree. Oh, the Joneses, they really want me to serve on the HOA, the Homeowners Association. The Joneses, they really do. I remember, Andrew, have I told you about my HOA days?
I've heard a few stories.
Okay, let me retell them because I like them every time.
I want to hear it.
I was in a neighborhood back in the day called Silverwood. Mm-hmm. It was in Tulsa at 111th and Memorial.
Yep. And
the head of the Homeowners Association, his name was Mike.
Okay.
And they had an election. You know how you elect the Homeowners Association board? Do you know how this works?
I would assume it's pretty normal. I've never been in an HOA before, but
all the neighbors would get to vote.
Yeah.
And they have no idea who the neighbors are.
Nice.
So it's basically whoever puts their name on the ballot wins. So a neighbor says, "Hey Clay, you're a young guy." I was like 22.
Yeah.
You got a successful company, dude. I'm like, people always come by my house and go, "Hey, what's your dad do for a living?" I'm like, "This is my house. Stop asking that." So all my neighbors are 40s. I'm sure you run into that right now.
Yeah.
All your neighbors. Andrew, you're 20.
Yeah.
Most of your neighbors are probably, 40, 50?
Yeah, when I would be outside, they're like, where's your dad? And I'm like,
right.
Nope.
This is my house.
This
right.
is my house.
So the point is, they would always ask me, hey, dude, you're the, you had a good business going. You should run for the HOA.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I should run for the HOA. So I put my name on the ballot. Next thing you know, I won by default. So I'm like third. I won like secretary or something. There's the president, Mike. Mm. Bruce was the VP.
Okay.
And then I'm like the treasurer.
Nice.
So I'm like, what does the treasurer have to do? They say, well, you got to make sure you collect the dues from everybody because we got to buy lawn chairs and landscaping and hang Christmas lights up and whatever. And the president moved. So now Bruce moves up. He's VP. Bruce moves.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Now you're talking, you're right here. You're looking at, I was the VP. I was the president.
Wow.
Of the HOA. And so as the president of the HOA, people would call me and say, I've got this would be my daily voicemails. You hit the voicemail because you see the red light.
Yeah.
I'd hit it. Boop. You have 14 voicemails. So I hit play. Boop. Yeah, I just want you to know the bushes seem to be a little bit bigger than they should be up front. I want to get those taken care of. Call me back right away. Boop. Clay, I've got a concern. There's a car that's parking a little bit over the curb, and I want to get that dealt with. Boop. Clay, I'm not going to be able to make my HOA dues this month because I'm a little behind, but I want to see if I can. Boop. Hey, I want to see if we can lower the every day.
Oh, man.
And I'm going, what am I doing here, man? So you know what I decided to do, which is probably not a move you should do. Because once you sign up for something, you should honor it. And
Yeah.
I did not do it. But you know what I decided to do?
What, did you block everybody?
I hit delete.
Oh,
And I'd
good.
I'd play the delete game for like a month.
Yeah.
We had a monthly meeting, and they're going, hey, we called you. You never called us back. And I'm like, oh, I must be not getting those messages. I got to figure out what's going on. I tell you what, I'll use some of the HOA money to switch to a different carrier.
There you go.
And then I do a misprint on the brochure where I print out the wrong number or something.
Yeah.
And I played that game for about 6 months and I never did anything. It's just total gridlock. If you wanted something done in that HOA, nothing got done. And it was because I didn't know my why.
Yeah.
I was honored for the opportunity. The RPA, revenue producing activities, is what you're doing today making you money? Is it creating revenue? 3, key performance indicators. Do you have a quota for all the things you need to be doing? Like work out for an hour, spend 2 hours with my wife, spend an hour on my book, multiply. Are you doing things that allow you to scale or to fail? Are you simplifying or complicating? You got to simplify. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. Thrive Nation, one more time. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. And the final thing you have to do is you have to ask yourself, am I scheduling time for what matters? And that, my friend, is another edition of Ask Me Anything. If you have any questions, just email me today at info@thrivetimeshow.com. That's info@thrivetimeshow.com. And without any further ado, Andrew, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
He's ready. 3, 2, 1, boom. Excuse me, I had a quick question there. One final question. I know we already did this edition of Ask Clay Anything, but I did want to ask, is it possible to do a rendition, a karaoke version of Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi? Every time I hear it, it just makes me percolate. Yeah, I'm going down. Holy crap, in a blaze of glory. Stop it, Joe. On behalf of the entire Thrivetime show, we apologize for the way today's show ended. But I have a quick question. Is there any way we could get a little bit of, cowboy whips on the track? I kind of like just to end, I like that sound. I like the, kind of, can we get a couple of those and then we'll wrap it up? Well, that's good. Yeah, just really, just let it fly. Just, whoa, nice.